Welcome, everyone, to Friday Night Folk. Yeah! How many people have heard Claudia Scmidt before? And if anybody's brave, can they raise their hand if they didn't hear Claudia? All right, okay, well. They are brave. But we're going to show them. Claudia's going to knock your socks off, that's for sure. But before you do that, let's make sure you know where all the exits are. There's an exit right over there. An exit through the community room. There's a door to go out. Of course, there's the door you came in. And there, about halfway down that hallway, there's an exit on your left. So, just for that information. The other part of it is make sure we turn off our cell phones. And I will model. Silent mode on. The other part is that the ladies' room and men's room is on your way in that hallway, and there's rooms by where you bought your tickets or got stamped. There's bathrooms there. So anyway, Jeff Kaufman, our own Jeff Kaufman, is going to introduce Claudia Scmidt, and it's great to have all of you here at Friday Night Folk. Woo!
Yes, indeed. What a great crowd. Claudia, like a bunch of us of this age frame, has been doing this for a long, long time. And actually, I got a wonderful email from some good friends who live in Texas. But she said she was blown away to get this notice. I sent this notice out to my e-blast lists because she'd heard Claudia at somebody else's Troubles in Chicago in 1975. But Claudia has been making incredible music solo and with Sally Rogers, of course, as well. And she actually, I think, might have moved this direction to kind of hang out near Sally. But anyway, she's just, I don't know how many albums you have out, like 10 or something. 22 albums. So she's been singing and recording a lot for a long, long time, and I'm just delighted we managed to get her here tonight. And so with no further ado, Claudia Scmidt.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, somebody else's Troubles. Whew, I cut some performing teeth there, I'll tell you. If I had to give up one of my senses at this point in time, it would be my sense of impending doom. We're born, we live, we die, we're gone, but love goes on and on. Would you sing it with me? We're born, we live, we die, we're gone, but love goes on and on. Once more. We're born, we live. Come on, sing today, tomorrow it might be illegal. And on. Okay, that little line, that little simple line, was given to me by my mother just 2 days after she died. I was in my car, and it was like she was next to me and kind of handed me this little number. And like it was her last words after the fact, but she had been my number one fan, and it was like her way of saying, you keep going, girl. And so I didn't even know what it was at first. What is it? Just the first line of a song? And then I realized that night at a gig in the green room, I realized it's around. So I call it Jane's Around, and I got to try it out that night with everybody. And so you've already heard the melodies, so we're gonna go into like 1, 2 over here, and 3, 4 over here. We'll do it as a 4-part round. Jane's Around. And I'm thinking tonight, my husband's father is in hospice right now, and a very dear friend, Chris Haynes, who played on my most recent records, died a couple of nights ago, so things are kind of up, right now. So it's really important to sing this song. Let's do it twice together, and then I'll sort of gesture to the rounds. We're born, we live, we die, we're gone, but love goes on and on. We're born, we live, we die, we're gone, but love goes on and on. We're born, we live, we're born, we live, we're born, we live, we're born, we live, we die, we're gone and on. We're born, we live, we're born, we live, we die, we're gone, but love goes on. We're born, we live, we're born, we live. Listen to yourselves. We're born, we live, we die, we're gone, but love goes on and on and on and on and on and on. Did anybody get to actually see the lunar eclipse last night? Just read about it, looked at pictures on Facebook. Me too. But there is something about that celestial activity that's pretty amazing. It just kind of makes you realize how tiny we really are in this big place. It's a song that was inspired on a winter night some years ago when I was living on Beaver Island out in the middle of Lake Michigan, and the stars looked so close. It looked like you could reach up. I feel like I could reach up and shake hands with my ancestors, and that's where this came from. The big old dipper stands up on its end and spills the night all around me. I'm all astir with this power again, and I just can't say how it found me. But oh, when it comes, I feel I could run for miles and days, and my soul gets so big that it scares me to death. So I chase that power away. Orion's belt at horizon stands, and I know his sword hangs below. I have my own weapons as survival demands, as do we all, I know. And oh, how they shine whenever the mind says use them, oh, use them. But may I, like Orion, just let them shine. Find strength not to use them. And oh, these stars, so many, and they seem so near. And oh, these stars, well, they just seem to laugh at my fear, my fear, my fear. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, and Taurus points like an arrow tonight, and dumb with trust I go straight to the owl who speaks of sight, and casting aside all I know. And as it falls away, I try so to stay, but I left it behind, and now I'm running home, both dead and alive, through a night, both dangerous and kind. And all these stars, so many, and they seem so near. And oh, these these stars, well, they just seem to laugh at my fear. Oh, 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 these stars, so many, and they seem so near. And oh, these stars, they just laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh at my fear. These stars, these stars, these stars, these stars, these stars, these stars, these stars. Thank you. I ended up in the ER after dropping a large piece of dense oak firewood on the top of my foot. And I don't recommend going to the ER as an inspiration for your music or poetry, but if that's where you find yourself, you know? And I'd been on the gurney for a good while, waiting, as you do, waiting and waiting. And at last, the door opened, and in came a woman wearing a white coat and a stethoscope. I assumed it was a doctor. She didn't say a word to me. She walked up to me. She put her stethoscope on my chest, and only then, looked right at me and said, "You have a slow, steady heart." And then she turned around and walked out of the room, pulled the door closed. If Mark hadn't been with me, I would have thought I hallucinated the whole thing. So the way I look at it, I had two options at that point. In these polarized times and the healthcare system in America being what it is, I could have easily said, "Well, guess what, lady? That's not what I'm here for." Or option number two, which is the one I chose, because otherwise I would have written a very different song than the one I'm about to play for you. I just laid there and thought, oh, really? Me? Moi? So this is the song I ended up with. Slow, steady, slow, steady, slow, steady, slow, steady heart. That's what the lady doctor said to me when I showed up for an emergency. It was a pretty nasty injury, with pain and swelling I could feel and see. But what I heard and see was you have a slow, steady heart. What does it mean to have a steady heart when our whole world seems to be falling apart? What does it mean that it is beating slow in spite of pain and everything I know? Well, it's a mighty mystery. I have a slow, steady heart. Slow, steady, slow, steady, slow, steady, slow, steady heart. Well, I wrote this song and it came out on a CD called Slow Steady Heart, right in time for the lockdown. 5 years this weekend. And so you already have figured out I like to get people to sing along at every opportunity. And so in this case, I had, a good couple years to figure out what I was going to do on this song. Here's what I came up with. Slow, steady, slow, steady. Yeah, I can. Slow and steady. Slow and steady heart. Nice. Sometimes the thing we really need to hear slips unexpectedly into our ear, where time and place have not prepared us for the very news to make our spirits soar. Well, here's breaking news for free. I have a slow, steady heart. My swollen foot will take some time to heal, but that dear woman helped me keep it real. She said almost tenderly, "You have a slow, steady heart." Slow and steady, slow and steady, slow and steady, slow and steady. May you have a slow and steady heart. Thank you. I really love it when a song takes on a function. You write a song and it's fun to sing, but when you hear later that somebody says, "Oh yeah, I love that song and I did da 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 with it." I've had 3 or 4 different friends tell me that they put that song on a playlist when they were going into the hospital for some sort of cardiac procedure. Yeah, and they're all still alive, so that's a good sign. Well, I did mention that it was the 5th anniversary of The Thing. I just call it The Thing now. And a lot of people sort of are vague what they remember, but I'm into remembering. This is what I do. It's my thing. It's my thing. And so I think it's important that we remember what we really experienced. Every now and then just revisit what we actually went through to get to this point. And so here's a song that was written at the beginning when we really didn't know anything about anything yet, and we were absolutely terrified with good reason. And we didn't know if it was. Remember, we learned the word fomites because it was on surfaces. That's what we thought. So we were scrubbing our groceries, and we were. One friend said, "I never thought my hands would consume more alcohol than my mouth." We were never ever supposed to touch our faces ever again. So right in the middle of all this, I'm reaching for the face of my beloved, and he says, "Don't touch my face." And I went, "Oh," and and kind of, it was a new thing. I mean, it was like, wow, I guess we really are into something different here. And I went to bed that night, and in the middle of the night, I got up and I wrote what I thought was a poem. But in the morning, over coffee, I realized that I'd kind of written a tango. So this is my little spin, one of my COVID hits. I have several, about lust in the time of COVID, called the Don't Touch My Face Tango. You step into my room, my every molecule's on fire. You take me in your arms and I am molten with desire. Your clever hands commence their dance with mischief, art, and grace. Just don't touch my face. That's your line. Well, you've the power to melt my heart with just one longing look. You're 50 movies wrapped in one. You're better than the book. You whisper in my ear and I'm beyond all time and place. Just don't touch my face. I see you reaching. Don't touch my face. I am beseeching. You can touch me almost any place. Just don't touch my face. You're sweet, incendiary, and I tremble when you're near. You never fail to thrill me with your beauty, wit, and cheer. You're moving close, I'm helpless now. My blood, my passion race. Just yes, oh darling, please don't touch my face. Don't touch my don't touch your eek. Don't touch mine. I'm going to switch to the dulcimer here. Just give me a second. Hey, let's thank Adam back there for getting the sound set up here. And he was quick and efficient, and my favorite. Well, it was nice to get back on the road after the lockdown, and because I always have really liked driving, and when I'm talking about driving, I mean driving, what I call continuous flow driving, where you have to drive at least 100 miles, I don't know, just gently braking or downshifting without ever coming to a complete stop. And when you're able to travel like that, you really kind of move into an altered state. And I don't mean to make it sound like it's dangerous, because really, you become very alert and aware of where you are. The journey becomes as interesting as the destination, sometimes more so. And so you start looking around. And, I remember being stuck behind a large vehicle on a 2-lane highway in the country, and I was stuck between first and second gear. I had a manual transmission. And so I'm, what do? You're just going along. You can I could get mad, or see options again, or you can kind of get to know it, because there it is, and after a while, your little lights are winking and blinking, and its little mud flaps are waving like hula hands, and wow, you're in love. And there you go for a while, and then it turns off, and there's a little bit of you that just goes, oh. But then something else comes along, and that's what I'm talking about. That's one part of the driving. And the other thing is, if on a drive that you do with some regularity, it's road signs. And there's one sign in particular that you pass all the way across because it's the latitude, and I'm talking about the 45th parallel, halfway between the equator and the North Pole sign. And who knows how many hundreds of times I've passed that sign, and I always still get a little thrill. Because it's like, you're hurtling along in a metal box, going 60, 70 miles an hour, kind of nowhere in particular, and then for this little nanosecond, you know exactly where you are. It's amazing, it really is. And so this is a love song for that road sign called Waltzing at the 45th Parallel. It's interesting, a couple of years ago I was doing a house concert, and a mother and daughter came up to me afterward, and they were all excited because they'd been driving across the country, and they came across that sign, and they pulled the car over, and they got out and they danced around the sign before they got in the car and drove on again. And I said, and you didn't even know there was a song for it yet. So, Waltzing at the 45th Parallel. Driving, especially around this time of year, you get to witness the first bits of spring. Sometimes it's something you hear. I mean, not so much now because we don't have our windows open much, but you see it in your peripheral vision. And here's a little piece about that. My favorite harbinger. One red-winged blackbird in a field of gold is all these eyes need behold to worship. Song trembling upon the lip of wonder, made tangible by the kiss of thunder, of rain to a heart all racked with pain. And so quickly over has begun. A slow joy spreads through sad hearts and heads of those who had forgotten to suppose the magic of one slender stalk leaning barely beneath what confronts eyes squarely. The bold presence of one red-winged blackbird. Thank you. I think one of the things that distresses me the most about kind of living in the digital age and depending on these devices to hear about people and find out what's going on is, and cell phones, is you don't know where anybody is anymore. Nobody is located. And I find that really disturbing. Even though, I mean, we've always moved around as humans, we've always traveled, but I guess it's like a sense of, it's placelessness. That's what it feels like, placelessness. And I think it makes us vulnerable when we don't have that landing spot in a daily way. It's easy for us to just spin out. So I'm gonna do a couple of little things here. The first is a place that I certainly have gone to, and that probably all of us have gone to in whatever form you seek it out. And it's the place you go to get reloaded, to get away from the rabble and the. And for me, it's been growing up in Michigan, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. But then I lived in Minnesota, and for Minnesotans, it's the North Shore. And then I come out east. I live in Connecticut now, and people are going up to their camps in Maine. And I don't know where the northern people go. But it always seems to be north. People always seem to be going north to get to that spot. Well, I actually have friends who live in northern Michigan, up close to the Straits of Mackinac, and they live way, way out in the boonies. And they ended up buying some property on the other side of the bridge, because they had to get more into the boonies than they already were. And so I just find, we go to these places and they're bleak, and there's a beauty in that bleakness, and artifice falls away, and it's so important, these wild places. And one summer I was driving back and forth across the UP, and it just seemed like I was getting little gifts and notes from the land around me, and it was kind of, so this song became kind of my thank you note to the UP and to places like that, not just because they're there for us, but just because they're there at all. And not too long after I wrote the song, I was on this poetry list, and I got this poem. And it was as if the two of us, a poet I've never met before, David Wagoner, had sat down together and woodshed it to come up with my song and his poem. So I'm gonna start out with that poem. It's called Lost. Stand still. The trees ahead and the bushes beside you are not lost. Wherever you are is called here, and you must treat it as a powerful stranger. Ask its permission to know it and be known. Listen, the forest breathes. It answers, I have made this place around you. And if you leave, you may come back again, saying, here. No two trees are the same to raven. No two branches are the same to wren. If what a tree or a bush does is lost on you, you are surely lost. Stand still. The forest knows where you are. You must let it find you. Their secrets, and the stars look the other way. Out here, the moon hangs a cloud for cover, so darling, you can stay. Stay till the question burning in your soul is answered. Stay till your body is flooded with relief. Stay till the fear is lifted off you like a mist, and you can kiss the grief. Oh, you can kiss the grief. Goodbye. Out here, there's no one asking where you came from, or just how long you plan to a single loving touch unties. Unclench your hand, unbind your heart, unwind the songs so tightly wrapped inside your tender throat. See how it might float you free. Float you free. Float you free. Out here, there's nothing to prevent you from leaving just the way you came. But out here, your voice rings so clearly that nothing's ever quite the same. No one is meant to stay out here forever. Everyone finds their way in trouble and distress. Raven keeps count of all the paths in and out. He circles in the air. We come from everywhere to try again, or to try out here, out here, out here, out here. Thank you. Well, speaking of place, we're going to go back to the home place now, the town where I grew up in Michigan, a little town called New Baltimore, which is not too far from Detroit. And I, started to play. I sang in choirs growing up, and well, as the bigger I got, the smaller the town got. You know how that goes. And so by the time the first rock band I was ever in, toward the end of high school, we used to do songs like White Rabbit and Born to Be Wild and that kind of stuff. And but the name of our band was Small Little Town. Kind of told you. And so I went off into the world. I ran away with a theater group, and then I moved to Chicago and got started into music, and I started writing songs, and I thought, well, I should write a song about my hometown, but I thought maybe I should wait a little while until I got some perspective, got more mature. So this is what I came up with. Maybe I was being a little premature. I don't know. You can decide. I'm just having a little trouble with this microphone. I'm just going to adjust it a little more so I don't end up like this. Or you think I've collapsed. So here's my little song about my hometown. Well, there is a town where I spent years, home of much laughter and some fears. When I got older, it was clear, time to leave Ashleyville. In Ashleyville, the sun goes down, and it's the end of life in town. That's it, there's not a soul around in Ashley town. Well, there is a lake full of fresh perch. There is a cop who loves to search. There is a club they call John Birch in Ashley Reading books is so much fun. There's always God's work to be done in Ashleyville. Now parents want kids to grow up right. Small towns won't let them out of sight. We had to sneak off to Detroit to escape Ashleyville. Uh-oh. Stop in the name of love before you break my heart. Everybody, stop in the name of love before you break my heart. Think it over. Could be a parent talking to a child. And think it over. Or a child talking to a parent. Well, now, how can a town that lives this way produce the likes of me, I say, perfect and free in every way? How unlike Ashleyville. La 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 ha ha. So far from the town of Ashleyville, the memories grow and change and fill, and things become just what you will of Ashleyville. There is a town where I spent years, all the much laughter and some tears. I stop whenever I pass near to Ashleyville. La da 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 ba ba da da. Do 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 da ba 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 do 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 do. Thanks. Just a couple more things here before we wind up the first set. I just want to remark on what a beautiful place. Okay, then that gives me a little wiggle room too. Yeah, I know. That's what my husband says. No more cheap mic stands, he says, every time we do a gig. We got it. Thank you, Adam, everybody. But I walked in here, and it's such a beautiful place, and the beautiful goodies out on the tables, and just so thoughtful, and this beautiful mural by Ruth Sussler. I mean, I walked in and I saw this thing, and it's extraordinary. You're just very lucky to have this place. And so it's wonderful to be here. And anyway, we'll have an intermission, and I'll be back for another set. And I do have some recorded things with me that are mine, and they could be yours. But I want to wind up with a couple of things, maybe pertinent to these times. The first thing is actually a chant that was written for a winter solstice tale that a friend of mine wrote some years ago. And I love the words so much. It was a dream involving the Druid people dancing around the Yule fire, and I wanted to remember the words. And so I put a melody to them, because that's the best way to remember words. And, in it is this wizard in this story she wrote. He's this young wizard who's been given the task of reconciling all the different winter celebrations. He's young and clueless, and he doesn't have a clue. He just doesn't know what to do with it all this information. And so he ends up getting into a deep depression and crawls into his cave and goes into a deep sleep underneath his Afghan of tufted dragon fur. And then he has this huge dream that brings all these different celebrations together. Oh, he wakes up, oh my God, I get it now. So you have to go through the darkness to come back into the light. Without the darkness, you couldn't see the stars. And so he has his illumination, he has his revelation. But out of the story, I took this chant, and because it's such a great metaphor for the times of darkness that we move through, 'twas ever thus, time and again, and the times that we have to look to each other and stand together and dance together and sing together back into the light. So I'm singing it tonight in that spirit. And I'm going to sing it and have you sing it with me. And then I'm going to wind up with a song that was inspired by John Lewis. Last week was the 60th anniversary of the March from Selma. And I wrote this song on the eve of the 50th anniversary after hearing an old interview with John Lewis, Terry Gross, I think it was a Fresh Air interview. And I hadn't heard him tell the story before, that horrible and violent story from this man with this incredibly gentle and poetic voice, and I was just sobbing. I was by myself, just listening to the radio and sobbing. And then this song came out, which was about, those people started to march that day, and it wasn't up to them. It wasn't their job to finish it. It's our job to keep that march going. He talked about the state troopers on the other side of the bridge. He described it as a sea of blue, just waiting there. And still they marched, still they walked. And so that's what it left me with. Yes, we have to keep walking together until we together turn that resistance around, so that we can all be walking together toward justice and dignity and equal rights for every human being. And so I'll teach you that chorus when we get there. But here's the solstice chant. Let's do it again. We are awake, awake in the night. We turn the wheel to bring the light. We turn the wheel to bring the light. Still on the bridge, 50 years gone by. Still on the bridge, looking hate in the eye. We can't cross the bridge until we turn them around. It's chorus for next time. It started out peaceful, just like they planned. 600 people walking hand in hand. 2 by 2 they made their way into that bloody fray. We're still on the bridge, 50 years gone by. Still on the bridge, looking hate in the eye. We can't cross the bridge till we turn them around. Yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Silent marches, Montgomery bound. The right to vote, their common ground. Selma behind, what lay ahead would leave 3 people dead. Oh, we're still on the bridge, 50 years gone by. Still on the bridge, looking hate in the eye. We can't cross the bridge till we turn them around. Ooh, to the Edmund Pettus Bridge and the angry blue sea at the bottom of the ridge. Old Edmund was a Klansman, and here's the shame: the bridge still bears his name. Oh, we're still on the bridge, 50 years gone by. Still on the bridge, looking hate in the eye. We can't cross the bridge till we turn them around. Selma to Montgomery can't be measured in miles, you see, but in the courage to stand our ground and turn this hate around. Oh, we're still on the bridge, 50 years gone by. Still on the bridge, looking hate in the eye. We can't cross the bridge till we turn them around. Ooh, we're still walking, still on the bridge, 50 years gone by. Still on the bridge, looking hate in the eye. We can't cross the bridge till we turn them. No, we can't cross the bridge till we turn them. No, we can't cross the bridge till we turn them around. We can't cross cross the bridge till we turn them around. We can't cross the bridge. We got to turn them around. Ooh, we're gonna turn them around. Oh, oh, oh. Thank you. Thanks. Have a nice intermission. I should retune this one.
A chance to look at some of the nice CDs and all her talent. Gosh, is she incredible? Just incredible. Anyway, I just want to let you know that we have Guy Davis that will be with us next month. You will really love him. Has more of a blues feel to his music.
He's great.
You're gonna love him. And then we're gonna have Steve Elsey with us. And how many of you have heard or seen Steve Elsey? Yeah, he's around and amazing musician. Anyway, he'll be with us in May, I think it's May 16th. Am I right with that? And it's going to be an earlier concert. Please pay attention. It's going to be a family, community kind of thing, and we'd love to have you bring your kids with you, your grandkids with you, great-grandkids with you, and of course your mothers and your fathers and whatever. Anyway, we had a great first half, didn't we? And you know what? We got another great half. May I introduce to you again, Claudia and Scmidt.
Okay, I have something very special for this day for you. Ice water. 2 silver knives to cut through the flour and shortening. Add salt. It is an old art. Do not work late into the night with sleep nipping at your sleeves. You will fall off. Wake up at 2 a.m. to a room full of smoke, 2 black discs in the oven. Do not think about business or the wave of darkness spreading through the arts. Do not think about depression looming on the horizon or the rhetoric and nonsense our leaders toss into its mouth or the prospect of revolution in America. Zen. Concentrate on the art of pie. It is a good art. Ingredients spread through the house like a layer of snow. Later people say, oh, pie, pie, we love pie. It is an old art. Fill pie with ingredients at hand. Fresh fruit, cans of things, cheese. Add it to a feast. Eat leftovers for breakfast the next day. The celebration begins again. Pie filling the recesses of the body. Exhilaration. Pie is an old art. If we lose it, infants will wither in their mothers' stomachs. Men will lose direction. U.S. Steel will manufacture rubber, and the pillars of society will flop around like spangles on a half-mast flag. Pie. The planets are lined up, Saturn, Uranus, Mars, Jupiter, pulling earthquakes, pulling poison from beneath the surface. Pie. Cut through the mix gently, roll out on a layer of wood and flour. Pie, flute the edges, pour apples and cinnamon and spices. Pie, zen, concentrate on the art of pie. It is a good art. The rites of passage pull us through the gates of depression and war. We shall make pie, cannot resist. We shall celebrate Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July. Holidays shall find us traversing the continent in search of heritage. No one makes pie like mother does. Pie. No one says one pie should represent all pies. Pie is like a thumbprint. Some are sour. Pie is silent, making only a light simmering noise as it bakes in the oven. It spreads scent gently into our hearts. There is ceremony as pie is lifted out of the heat. They gather. Oh, pie! The clutter is swept away. Space around pie is brought to sharp focus. Light pours down on pie. Concentrate. The art of pie is an old one. Like breaking a champagne bottle over the bow of a ship going off to sea, this ceremony as a cornerstone is laid. Pie. Do not forget these things. Do not roll the crust too thick. Roll gently or the center will unfurl. Rub extra flour on the rolling pin. Do not forget these things. Remember, cold is essential, then heat. You must have an oven. Cannot make pie over an open fire or in a barbecue pit. Be firm with those who insist pie can be made in a crock pot or on the back window ledge of a Pontiac left out in August sunlight. Respect the rules of pie. A woman named Susan Bright wrote that poem. I learned it. It was sent to me in the mail back in the 80s. And it was a print, it was like a Xerox of something that was in a magazine from Madison with no attribution on it. Somebody had just printed it. And it took me, I don't know, something like 3 years. I would do the poem, and I would say, if anyone knows Susan Bright, please, or if anyone knows who wrote this poem, please let me know. And I was way up in Oswego, New York one night, and this guy comes ambling up. He said, oh yeah, it was Susan Bright. She lives in Austin, Texas. And wouldn't you know it, I was heading for Austin, Texas. A month later, so I looked her up and we got to know each other. Alas, not for too long. She died very young of breast cancer, but she had a feminist press and was an activist and an artist, and that's just a little sample of what she left us with. So I'm going to go back to talk about that 5 years ago, the thing, a little bit, because there were gifts during that time, and for me, one of the gifts was Mark and I lived in a beautiful place in the country, and for me, being a traveling person my whole life, I don't think I hardly have ever experienced an entire season all the way through. I'd be off for part of it, and so to get to go through the whole cycle of seasons and just watch and listen and kind of participate in my place, was a real gift. And then there was that quiet that we had. People were posting, pictures of birds building nests on side mirrors of cars and wild animals walking down the middle of streets, in cities. And what was cool about it is it's like kind of there was a sense of wonder. It was like a reintroduction of wonder. And I was hoping it would last longer than it did. But so in my little world, for instance, I love the birds so much. And so I got familiar, not just with, birds have their kind of signature sounds, but then if you really get to know your birds, they have their really special sounds, There was this cardinal we had the first summer, and I called it the mad Italian cardinal, because it would go, prego, prego, ha, 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 ha. I'm not kidding. and that kind of thing, it was. So one morning in the spring, I went outside, and the Baltimore Orioles had just gotten back, and there was a male Oriole just singing his heart out, and it was so beautiful, and it was the same theme he was singing over and over again. And I tell you, if I'd been a female Oriole, it was like, whoo, hubba, hubba. It was, I was rapt. And so I did what any self-respecting composer does. I sort of stole the melody and turned it into this little kind of montage-y thing. And the cool thing is I didn't have to give it a time signature because the Oriole was singing in waltz time. So this is called the Baltimore Oriole Waltz. So a little more about wonder, which is something that we have to cultivate, in your daily life. Just looking at little things. Pretty amazing, really. was a master of wonder. I remember in one of her poems, she talked about wanting to be the bride of wonder. She wanted to be married to, it just was such a wonderful idea. A bride to amazement, that was the word she used. She wanted to be a bride to amazement. And another friend of mine who wrote a book years ago, and I can't even remember the plot of the book, but the character at one point was at the mercy of his astonishment. Isn't that just such a great line? But I think the best one I've heard was a quote from Diane Ackerman I came across a little while back, which was, "Wonder must be one of the heaviest elements in the periodic table of the human heart, because one moment can stop time." Hop up on these wings of wonder, let us fly toward the sun. Deep as wells and high as mountains, we will know that all is one. Every creature winged and footed, every feature given free. There is no such thing as ugly when the heart can help the eyes to see. Hop up on these wings of wonder, do not be afraid to fly. I have waited for this moment, please don't hesitate to cry. Fear will only kill your longing, make you hope for less than all. There is no such thing as fear when answering sweet mysteries call. Hop up on these wings of wonder, while they linger, while they stay. They are strength and they are power, they are soaring night and day. Oh, such magic, they grow stronger with each soul is seen and known. They will not collapse or wither, though some people think they're all gone. No, no, no. These wings of wonder, there is room for everyone. Wonderstruck and full of power, we can fly when work is done. Free the hand that holds it back, just reach on out and take it in. To be known as well as knowing is to live, to learn again and again and again and again and again. Hop up on these wings of wonder, sing it with me. Hop up on these wings of Thank you. So I made this record a couple of years ago called Reimagining. It was celebrating my 50th year of being a performer, musician, and I picked 11 songs that I'd recorded over the years and kind of revisited them as I am now, the person I am now, the voice I have now, new instrumentation, some different harmonies, and it was a remarkable project and kind of poignant, and especially for a couple of songs. Some songs I've been singing right on through, but a couple of the songs, you write songs and then you write new songs, and the old songs kind of get left in the dust, in a way, and every now and then I call it the prodigal song, I'm getting ready to do a concert and I have my ideas already, and it's like I have a little tug on my trousers, like, so what am I, chop liver? And this one song that I hadn't done in a long, long time sort of came back and said, me, when I was getting ready to record Reimagining. And it's so much fun because you come back to a song and you've lived this life in the meantime. It's like a joyful reunion, And so it's this living, organic thing. So I wrote this song about a specific friend. In fact, the friend who wrote the book I mentioned before Wings of Wonder. But over time, it's come to represent the deep friendships in our lives, the ones that step totally out of linear time and chronological time, and kind of friend you can maybe not see for 25 years, and you get together and you're just off and running, like no time has passed at all. That kind of is such a treasure and powerful thing, sacred thing, really. So that's really what this song about, but I was too young to understand it when I wrote it back in the 90s. Above the roar, something that I long to hear, the crush of noise, and still I had a tender ear, a sort of sigh, a murmur at break of day. I knew it could be, maybe for me. I was seeking the quiet way out to the field. The tall grass is bending low toward a shape stark against the morning's glow. I moved in close, you reached out as if to play, my heart beating fast, sensing at last path to the quiet way. Hum it with me. Was your eyes deeper than I dared to glance? And that smile setting all the lights to dance? A simple tune from your mouth, I start to sway with your little song. You took me along and showed me the quiet way. It's in a room, it's in the very heart of town. It's waiting there when all the noise is bearing down, when sleep is scarce and night has too much to say. Remember this place and each shining face has shown you the quiet way. Remember this tune, then very soon you'll come to the quiet way. Thank you. Well, it is March, which has been noted through time as Women's History Month, although I read the other day that it has mysteriously disappeared from the Google Calendar. Nonetheless, we will acknowledge and discuss it here. And I was in Grand Rapids, Michigan, a long time ago, doing a gig at the Ladies Literary Club, which was this wonderful theater that had been built and maintained by the ladies, you know, from the late 1800s, in fine shape. In this community radio station was doing concerts there, WYCE, and so I walk into the lobby of this theater, and it was they called it the Shakespeare lobby. I mean, on it was this beautiful mural of Portia leaning out the window from The Merchant of Venice, saying, "Who chooseth me must give and hazard all he hath." And that was just the lobby. And then you walk into the theater, and the entire wall were murals of the story of Psyche. I mean, it was just a phenomenal place. And I go into the back room and into the green room, and it was lots of photos, black and white photos of presidents past and of the Ladies Literary Club. And I like looking at photos a lot. So I'm looking, but I was very annoyed because this pattern evolved, where I was looking at the photo. It was like woman's face, Mrs. Guy. Woman's face, Mrs. Dude. You get the idea, right? And until I got to this one photo, and it was this gorgeous photo, kind of, a little more mysterious than the other photos. And underneath it said, Miss Eulalia Thomas. And I was in love. I can't tell you how it made me feel at that point. And right after that, they called me out to do the concert, and I drove on down the road and thought that was the end of it. But Miss Eulalia, I like to say, she kind of came along with me and kind of bugged me until I wrote this song in her honor. And it's been so exciting the last few years. Starting with the sort of hidden figures idea, the names and identities of women coming forward for their contributions over centuries to all parts of life all over the world. It's been a very exciting time for that. And so I like to think that Miss Eulalia is smiling from somewhere and all that. Thomas, your face upon this wall, gazing outward upon us, you beckon and enthrall. How did you miss becoming a Mrs. Eulalia? You make me smile, you have a style all your own. Literary sisters cast away their names, only known as Mrs., Mr., Walter, Frank, and James. You stand alone, intact and unedited, Eulalia. You make me smile, you have a style all your own. All your own. Were you wealthy? Were your heart is stealthy, beautiful without a doubt? All the others smile straight on. You come at me carefully. Dreams in your eyes, never quite caught. Your chin so strong. Literary ladies all, you led them for a time. Were there lovers, children, critics, husbands in your prime? How did you miss becoming a Mrs. Eulalia? You let me know I'm free to grow as I will, and I will. Miss Eulalia Thomas, your face upon this wall. Miss Eulalia Thomas, you're smiling for us all. Thank you. So I was driving from Connecticut, where I have been living, to Fargo, North Dakota, and it was right when the Me Too movement busted out. So I was listening to public radio the whole 2 days on the road and listening to those stories, and oh my God, it was terrifying, and it was also exciting, because it's that I found myself feeling hopeful, because it's the healing crisis, the stuff coming up to the surface, and I found myself thinking, wow, maybe we can really talk about that. Maybe we can really move on to some new place. And looking back, I realized I was naive. Given that the march last week was really about backlash, that goes way further back than Me Too, but that certainly brought it to a new frothing frenzy. And nevertheless, I got up the next morning after my concert in Fargo, and I wrote this song. And I still feel hopeful because it did change things, and that was one of the things that caused the frothing frenzy. Is that we're not going back. It's up now. It's different. And I like it when people say, every now and then you hear somebody say, oh, yeah, too bad about the Me Too movement, and I'm like, what? We're just getting started here. This is like the Me Too also moment. So this is the song that came out of that, and it's kind of got an echo for you in it. Took a long, long time, it took a long, long to get a beat on the meanness. It took a long, long time, it took a long, long to turn the gray into black. It took a long, long time, it took a long, to put a voice to the anger. It took a long, long time, but now there's no turning back. It was a long, long road to walk behind and be silent. It was a long, long road to carry all that pain. It was a long, long road. But now that journey is ending. It was a long, long road. Was a long. We'll never travel again. No, 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 no. It takes a long, long time to turn the shame into power. It takes a long, long time for every voice to be heard. It takes a long, long time to break a system of violence. It takes a long, long time to put it all into words. Oh, just trying to put it into words. A long, long view to build a bridge for our daughters. It takes a long, long view to give a choice to our sons. Yes, it takes a long, long view to not forget what the price was. Oh, it takes a long, long view to know the work's never done. No, no, never, never done. It took a long, long time to raise our voices together. It took a long, long time, but now we walk hand in hand. It took a long, long time to break this terrible silence. Oh, it took a long, long time to come to understand. We're all just trying to understand. It took a long, long time. It was a long, long road. It takes a long, long view. It takes a long, long time. Oh, it took a long, long time. It was a long, long road. It takes a long, long view. Oh, it took a long, long time. Yes, it took a long, long time. It was a long, long road. It takes a long, long view. It takes a long, 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 long time. But together, we'll see our way through. Thank you. Nice job singing. That was great. I got so excited my pick flew off. Heck, who knows? At least it didn't go into the guitar like happens sometimes. So, all right. There's this woman I listen to on public radio in Boston. She's a weekly guest on this show, on a daily show we listen to, and she works in national security. She's brilliant, and she gets really worked up. Julia Keim is her name, and she'll get going, and you can hear her building up, and she'll go, pace the rage, Julia, pace the rage. I just love that idea, that concept, and that's what we try to do. But it was, what was it, 2 years ago? I was getting ready to do our annual, For Pete's Sake, our Pete Seeger sing-along that we do up in Woodstock, Connecticut. That's a benefit for the kitchens of Eastern Connecticut that provide food to many, many different food pantries. And, you know, I think you have one of those here. And the words are song leaders, and the words are projected, and everybody gets to sing on everything. And my song that year was Turn, Turn, Turn. I was supposed to be working on Turn, Turn, Turn. And so I'm working away, getting my arrangement together, and it really was. I felt like Pete Seeger was sort of tapping me on the shoulder, saying, girlfriend, you got that. Just, okay, you got it. Look over here. And I swear, I just picked up my pen and started writing. And so I have to thank the spirit of Pete Seeger for this song. And it's, well, it speaks for itself. And I got to sing it. I came running into the sing that night and said, I wrote a protest song, because it's not something I do all the time, you know. And I actually sang it that night, and I think we're going to do it this year too, and because it's coming up on Jeff Kaufman is part of it, and so we're doing it on March 28th up in Woodstock, Connecticut. If you find yourself rolling around up there, it's at 4 p.m. at the Congregational Church on the Hill. And I wasn't sure what to call this song when I first wrote it, but soon enough it came to me. It's called Enough Already. Get your Bible off my body, get your gun out of my face, get your fear out of my joy, your behavior's a disgrace. This delusion of oppression is a dangerous obsession. If you don't stop soon, I'm guessing you might end this human race. That's the chorus for next time. I'm so tired of sanctimony, all your righteous rank baloney, screaming it's all to protect every precious child, while gutting programs that would feed and teach the children now in need. That's why your pusillanimous piety gets me riled. So get your Bible off my body, get your gun out of my face, get your fear out of my joy, your behavior's a disgrace. Get your fear out of my joy, your behavior's a disgrace. This delusion of oppression is a dangerous obsession. Or this delusion of oppression is a dangerous obsession. If you don't stop soon, I'm guessing you might end this human race. Now no one said that you can't pray me to hell if that's your way. But if I don't want to pray, that's okay too. Let's just let each other be, keep the dumb out of the free. So freedom's just as good for me as it is for you. So get your Bible off my body, get your gun out of my face, get your fear out of my joy, your behavior's a disgrace. Well, this delusion of oppression is a dangerous obsession. If you don't stop soon, I'm guessing you might end this human race. Your old crusade should take a bow. It didn't work then, it won't work now. You know a few bad actors just can't fool this crowd. We are young, we are old, we are woke, we won't be sold. We shall live in love as nature and a Bill of Rights endowed. So get your Bible off my body, get your gun out of my face, get your fear out of my joy, your behavior's a disgrace. grace. Well, this delusion of oppression is a dangerous obsession. If you don't stop soon, I'm guessing you might end this human race. You break the backs of the poor and needy, and you break the banks with greed, and you break the children's hearts with your love of guns. When sweet Jesus said, let's break, he didn't mean bullets, for heaven's sake. He meant bread and he meant love for each and every one. So get your Bible off my body, get your gun out of my face, get your fear out of my joy. Your behavior's a disgrace. Well, this delusion of oppression, it's a dangerous obsession. If you don't stop soon, I'm guessing you might end this human race. Lay your weapons down unless you want to end this human race. It's high time you learn the lesson from that song. You know that song, you love to sing that song. Have you really listened to the words? Oh, sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, oh, but now I'm found. Was blind, see. All right. You probably have noticed this evening I love words. I'm a word person. And I came across a word a little while ago. Have you ever heard the word meliorism? It's so cool. It's such a cool word. It means the belief that you can contribute to society and improve the world through acts of love, creativity, compassion, and generosity. That's what it means. So I think we have a room full of meliorism, meliorism. And I think we got a room full of them here. I think this place is crawling with them. and that's what it takes, and that's what it's going to take this next time coming up here. So I'm going to wind up with a couple of things. A poem that was written by a guy named Kim Stafford. He's William Stafford's son, actually. And I first saw, poetry comes up in hard times. It's because it's medicine, it's healing. And I first saw Kim put this on the internet right after 9/11, I believe it was, that long ago. And it's kind of going around again now. And so if you're looking, after I do the poem, if you're looking for it, it's called Proclamation by Kim Stafford. And then I want to do a song that it's actually words, again, language. It's so important. We know how it's being used in nefarious ways against us and to drive us apart and to confuse us. And so we need to arm ourselves with the proper language, because there's magical power in it, and we have as much of a right to it as anybody else. So these are words that were written in the 1800s by a Swiss philosopher named Henri Frédéric Amiel, and I came across them when a friend was visiting, and we went to Clark Chapel on the grounds of the Pomfret School, and my friend noticed it over a doorway. She came home, and Mark and I were living in a 150-year-old schoolhouse with the old blackboard still on it. And so she took the chalk and she wrote those words. She put them in her little book, wrote those words on the board, and then she went off. And I spent the next couple of months just staring at those words, like gaining succor from those words. And then one day this melody just kind of came bounding in, and it came in kind of like a madrigal. And you know, if you sing madrigals, you can't really sing them alone. It's kind of dangerous. So I quick called Sally up, who only lived 1.5 miles away from me at that point, and I said, could you come over here quick before I hurt myself? And and we figured out how to make the whole thing work. So I offer you proclamation, and then I'll teach you Dear Friends, so we can all sing it together in a melioristic ecstasy here to wind up the night, Friday Night Folk. Proclamation. Whereas the world is a house on fire, whereas the nations are filled with shouting, whereas hope seems sometimes small, a bird on a wire left by migration behind, whereas kindness is seldom in the news, and peace an abstraction while war is real, whereas my life is short, whereas my work is all I have, whereas I am afraid, whereas I am free, despite all fire and anger and fear. Be it, therefore, resolved. A song shall be my calling. A song not yet made shall be vocation, and peaceful words the work of my remaining days. Dear friends, we know that life is short, and we do not have much time, much time, much time, much time, much time, much time to gladden the hearts of those who travel with us. We sing that one together. Of those who travel with us. So be swift to love, so be swift, you are fast to be loved. Make haste to be kind, all together. Make haste to be kind. Gets right to the point, doesn't it? Let's try it. Dear friends, we know that life is short, and we do not have much time, much time, much time to gladden the heart, everybody, of those who travel with us. So be swift to love, to be swift to love. Make haste to be kind. Okay, we got to do it once more here. It's coming together. Dear friends, we know that life is short, and we do not have much time, much time, much time to gladden the hearts of those who travel with us. So be swift to love, so be swift to love. Make haste to be kind. So be swift to love, so be swift to love. Make haste to be kind. So be swift to love, so be swift to love. Make haste to be kind. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming tonight. Thanks to Friday Night Folk for having such a wonderful space. Thank you.
Let's hear it for Claudia Scmidt.
Do I have time to do one more?
Baby, you got a lot of time for one more.
Okay. All right. Ooh. Queens lace and chicory brighten up the roadside. Swallows on the power line counting the cars. She's in the northward flow from the city. In a few more hours, she'll be sleeping beneath the stars. She's at a bend in the river. Carry her out of sight. Bend in the river. Surprise her in the night. Bend in the river. There's always one more turn, and there's always one more lesson you got to learn. Yeah, it was a hot early evening in late July. Scorpio aimed at the moon. He was singing Motown to the washing machine when he heard the song of a loon. He shut his mouth to hear it came from deep within. He knew that something was peculiar indeed. When a voice from the dryer says, "You better move, boy," was a voice he thought he ought to heed. Yes, it was a voice that he chose to heed. It brought him to a... Oh, it carried him out of sight. He's at a bend in the river. Surprised him in the night. Bend in the river, yes, there's always a one more turn. And there's always a one more lesson you've got to learn. Now you can run standing still, talk loud, saying nothing for the better part of a lifetime. And then one righteous day as your heart starts talking and says, "I'm here to claim what's mine. Yes, I'm here to recover what's mine. Looks like I got here in the nick of time." Well, thunder rolling in from the western sky tickles your belly and your brain. And crimson sky looks likely to burn, and everybody's praying for rain. But you can't pray for light and curse the dark. They've been lovers for a long, long time. And if you find yourself a little too dry inside, look for water in a new state of mind. There may be water in a new state of mind. Yeah, bring us all to a bend in the river. Well, it carries us out of sight. Bend in the river. Surprise us in the night. Bend in the river. There's always a one more turn, and there's always a one more lesson. Yeah, and there's always a one more lesson, and there's always one more lesson we got to learn. Thank you. All right. Stay buoyant. Thank you.
Let's hear it again for Claudia Scmidt. Wasn't she great? I just want to remind you, Guy Davis, April 11th, nominee for Best Traditional Blues Music. So I think you should be here, or be square.
He's fantastic.
Come you all back.